I'm Jordan Carlos, and it's time for Can We Talk About This?
My name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks, co-starring with the likes of JFK, Elvis Presley, and John Lennon, was a smash back in 1994.
Hey, wasn't that Gump?
But ever since, criticism of Forrest Gump has been like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. With me to go back to the summer of Gump is former Obama speechwriter and host of the podcast Love It or Leave It, Jon Lovett. From the first time you saw it to now, has your opinion about the film changed? And if so, how?
Yeah, I saw it as a kid in the context of like, this movie is extraordinary. The entire culture was focused on Forrest Gump.
It's a household name.
It does have incredible performances. It is an incredible achievement, the way it weaves this story through all of the American history of the last half century. But the movie refuses to have a politics on certain really important issues. Forrest Gump doesn't know what's wrong with America, but we do. I'm not so sure this movie does.
Yes, what I do see is a lack of confrontation or facing up to the problems with America.
Obviously, Forrest can't fix these things. These terrible things that happen to Jenny, these terrible things that happen to Lieutenant Dan, this terrible thing that happens to Bubba.
Forrest, why did this happen?
The terrible thing his mother has to do just to get him into a school. All of that is just, that's what America is. It will never get better. It will never get worse. Human beings are not in charge of it anyway. History is marching forward, and you're just along for the ride.
So tell me why Forrest Gump is so iconic.
I am sobbing at every poignant moment. I can sit here and I can bullshit all day about all the problematic aspects of this movie, but you put your eyeballs and your ears on Forrest Gump, and the movie will work on you. Every time. That Zemeckis is a witch.
And that's all I have to say about that.
It did surprise me how emotional I got watching the film.
I tear up. The movie works on me. I think some of the problems I have with it are around the ways in which the characters are caricatures. Like Forrest Gump is a caricature of a person with a mental disability. Lieutenant Dan is a caricature of a Vietnam veteran. Bubba is a caricature of a black Southern man.
For me, that was a lot.
But it is a movie that tells a story about America as a caricature. But the problem is, what are you trying to say about the last half century, about the horrors of it?
I mean, like a lot of other things in this, it's not confronted because it's just a little, it's uncomfortable. All you had to do was go back to Greenbow, Alabama, and lead a very simple life where you didn't question anything. And that was the good life.
Like, this is the other side of the problem with these caricatures, which is because they aren't real people, they don't have really full, rich inner lives in how they're portrayed to us. Their progress is only shown to us through physical changes. Lieutenant Dan apparently has processed the pain of what he experienced in the war. How do we see that? He's walking. We don't understand what he did. Did he go to therapy? How did he clean himself up? How did he get away from alcohol? Like, we see him at a low, and then we see him at a high. Jenny has gone through a horrible, horrible experience. She is in a series of abusive, unhealthy relationships. She is on drugs. She is ideating around suicide. And then we see her, and she's better. Why is she better? Well, she has a steady job, and her skin looks better. What happened? How did she get to the other side of that? And the thing is, the movie tells us how, because that era ended.
I wonder, was this like Hollywood at its most insidious, right?
Here is my universal theory of the 1990s. The films, the culture of the 1990s is what happens when a group of people decide that they're at the end of history looking back over it. Now that we're no longer racist, now that we're no longer misogynist, like, wow, glad history's over.
Yes, everything's been solved in this country.
And of course, that is not true at all.
John, people criticize the movie as emotionally manipulative. What's your take on that?
I think it's like unfair to say it's emotionally manipulative because like that's why we go to the movies. If they weren't emotionally manipulative, they're not good. Like that's what they're supposed to do. I think really we're saying that like, oh, this makes us feel things that we're a little bit uncomfortable with, but that's because like we're not robots.
How does Zemeckis pull this off? What a gangster. Like, how does he make me feel?
This is Robert Zemeckis at like the height of his powers. Every single aspect of the movie is working, and it is poignant and it is touching. Morally, we come out of it being like, I have a bad feeling in my stomach. So in that sense, it's actually, I think, more like overeating at the Cheesecake Factory. Like, every element is great. What is that, a Tex-Mex egg roll? Okay, delicious. Is that Italian? Send it in. That Diet Coke is enormous. I will consume all of this, and then I will go home, and I will feel very, very bad. Why? Because all of that should not have been given to me.
I think that is the magic of Forrest Gump.
Like, it works.
Thank you so much to my guest, Jon Lovett.
Thank you.
I'm Jordan Carlos, and my mama always says, enjoy the movie.